everybody, welcome to MCFC 9320 PUBcast. Firstly, I just want to kick off, guys, by paying our respects to Sven, who sadly passed away this week, aged 76. For me, Sven started the journey off, with what he did. Some of the players he brought in. He was only with us for one season, but some of the things I saw as a City fan was quite brilliant from Sven. I was gonna put the transcript of his last interview up, but to be honest, it's quite heartbreaking when somebody knows they're at the final stages of their life and be so what's the word? So dignified, in everything he did. So yeah. Rest in paradise, Sven, and thank you for everything you did for our wonderful football club.
Agreed. And we should also remember today, Sol Bamba, 39 years old, died yesterday, just before a game in Turkey. 39 years old is no age. So, we send our condolences to his family.
Absolutely. It's just so sad. So anyway, good evening, Anne-Marie. Good evening, Paddy. Anne-Marie, it's great to see you back in Turkey.
Thank you very much.
Your Turkey trip last week. Good evening, as always, to the fantastic guys in the chat. What a weekend for football, eh, Paddy?
Manchester United.
That fucking cheers me up every time.
It is just the gift what just keeps giving. Yeah, it's brought Liverpool to joint top of the league, but something, I couldn't give a shiny brown one. So in all honesty, because it's just they are just the gift what just keep giving. They really are. So have you enjoyed?
For me.
Before we kick off on yesterday's results, City's result, mate. I just want. Some of the other results, like Arsenal, are in a absolute meltdown. Three games in. We're going to run away with this league, aren't we, Paddy?
Well, if you take the result today,
what a great way to start, eh? Go on.
Take the result today. Yeah, it upset United, most definitely, but it would also upset North London. Because they're 2 points behind now what they would term their main rivals, as in Liverpool and Man City. Plus the fact golden balls get sent off, which made it even better. Which was this fucking Charlesburg moment, So, yeah, they're back. They're blaming the ref, corruption, all that crack. It's just been a perfect weekend.
It really, really has. Anne-Marie, obviously everyone knows you was in Turkey last week. Do you want to give people an update? Do you want to give everyone a smile and show your hair out where they've
For everyone's information, I wasn't in Turkey last week. I was in Sevilla and having lots of fun in the sun. It was very, very.
Hang on. Can you enlighten us with this fun in the sun?
Well, there was 14 of us on the trip, so it was extremely funny.
Nothing like throwing keys in a ball or anything.
Was it that
we were
type
very
of
well
trip it was?
No, it wasn't that type of a trip. Went back to my own room every night on my own.
What about in the day, though? It was nothing. Look, just to clarify, it was nothing like throwing keys in bowls and that kind of thing.
No,
was it?
Nothing at all like that.
So it's nothing like the last time you went away. Anyway, have you enjoyed the football yesterday and today?
Yes, certainly have. I think if I was an Arsenal fan, I would feel a bit aggrieved by that red card, that second yellow. It was slightly harsh, but these things happen and you have to accept them and get on with them. Pardo, I have got my own teeth. Nothing different to the last time you saw me.
You two look like Wallace and Gromit then. What, geez.
But I enjoyed
the stars. You come out at night.
I did enjoy my holiday, thank you, DC. But I thought we were brilliant yesterday. I think I know, unfortunately, West Ham got a goal that was just lucky. But on the whole, I thought we maintained good composure. We played to Erling's strengths, and we saw that. And I have to give credit to Núñez for not being on the pitch that long and setting up the third goal. It was a great ball to set him up. And people might slag him off a little bit because he didn't do much last season. But if he's given a chance, we'll see the best of him. And I think we saw that yesterday. Full credit to him for coming on and having an impact in the game. But I think, I kind of agree with you, Andy. I think the way we're going, if we can keep everyone relatively fit, then we can walk this league. And you only need to look that we're still without no Foden in that team yesterday, no Rodri, no Stones or Walker. So I think, and no Savinho yesterday either. I think it's promising for us. I have to say, I really think it is.
No, I absolutely agree with you. We just look levels above even anything what I've seen in the Premier League so far. I know it's only 3 games in and it's early days, la-di-da-di-da. But I think you absolutely nailed it then when you said, some of the players like Rodri's not even been anywhere near, Walker, not really been no minutes. Stones hardly had any. Grealish yesterday, and by the way, I thought Jack was very good yesterday. No Savinho yesterday. Núñez comes on, and I thought he was very, very good when he came on. Núñez, there was loads of positives, and I said when Haaland scored his first goal, said to the lads in the pub, I said that was just reminiscent of his very first open play goal for us, against West Ham, and all sorts. It's good to see that everybody else, a lot of other people picked up on it because it's just the way he took it, that swagger he's got. And Pep's turned right. Pep's actually said this is the first time in a year he's been fit. So God help the rest of the Premier League. Yeah. We could have been 4-1 up, Paddy, couldn't we, by half time?
Oh, absolutely. De Bruyne hit the crossbar, didn't he?
He hit the post scored.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now I know that your man Kudus hit the post for them. I think Matteo stopped it, or he put him under pressure, so they could have scored then. But overall, it could have been 5 or 6. But I'm just wondering, did anyone else pick up Pep's presser afterwards? What he said about the wings. In the wings, Jack Grealish was and Duku was, that they're not effective. They're not playing to Haaland's strengths. And he commented on the work that Haaland has done since he's come back in terms of build-up play and the staying after time, because, as you said, this is the first time he's been injury-free. But he was having a slight dig at Grealish and Duku for not delivering service. It makes sense, because if you watch after Haaland's second goal, he goes over and he consoles Jack Grealish. Jack Grealish he was involved in the build-up, but if you watch it, Haaland grabs and tells him to cheer up, and it's okay. Mm-hmm. So whatever's going on with Jack at the moment, and then Pep comes out then after the match and says that. I thought Jack Grealish looked very slim. Yes, I thought he played very well.
I thought he did, mate, to be fair. And I was just going to mention that Jack was involved, with a build-up play, for Haaland's second goal. And what a second goal it was, by the way. It was just like, I just thought there was so many great performances yesterday. Yeah, West Ham scored from, my man, came in from my man, Jared Bowen, who I think is a really, really good, clever footballer. But we didn't deserve to be 1-1 at that time. So I just thought we was very, very comfortable winners. And again, Ederson right near the end, it probably got it to 3-2, but it just shows you that Ederson's head seems to be on. Bernardo's head seems to be on. Obviously, Haaland. Rico Lewis just looks... I don't know what's up with Rico. It just seems to have started off, Anne-Marie, where he's got this swagger, and congratulations to him as well on his England call-up as well. I think that is well deserved.
You're right, and I would agree. He's playing with confidence, and it's one of the things I always think with the young lads that come in. They play without fear. They come in confident, and because they know Pep believes in them, and they've got no fear. They're playing with people that they play with every day of the week, and they know what's expected of them. I think, he's been brilliant this season so far. I know it's only 3 games in, but it could have been a very different kind of thing without Walker. But Rico's done a great job, and I think the other thing I was going to say was Kevin was awful unlucky yesterday not to get a goal. Hitting the post twice. I thought he was, particularly in the first half, I didn't think he was as involved in the second, but in the first half, he made such a difference to us. And again, you look at there's nobody on the team that let us down yesterday. Kovacic was great.
And how about that for time? It's even good evening, pal. And Pardo, that's they're saying, Kovacic, he just was gliding across the pitch yesterday. Well, not just yesterday, this season so far. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's done a great job. And I think it's just a really positive sign. I'm not interested to know why Foden wasn't even on the bench yesterday. I know last week they put it down to illness. But for him not to be on the bench yesterday, I'm a bit concerned that there's an injury. Oh, Simon, you're a clown. Nobody ever says that I'm glamorous.
Simon, can you go and put your glasses on?
Hey, stop calling me a clown. That's a compliment.
I know it's a compliment, but nobody has ever called me glamorous, Paddy.
Well, to say thank you, don't call me down.
Thank you very much, Simon.
Not everybody's got poor sight, Anne-Marie, so you shouldn't have a go at them. See what I mean, Simon? See what we have to put up with now. That's why we have to send her to Turkey and Saudi every few weeks, to get a break with Mr. Mahrez and stuff like that. Interesting. Before we get back to City, I was watching a really, really good debate earlier with a United fan and a Liverpool fan post the match finishing 3-0. Just tell me what you think, and do you actually agree with what they both were saying, guys? Everyone in the chat as well.
See, I'm just honestly.
That's beautiful. That come on, and
so see, I be able to tell you to make you delete that post where you post about Chelsea. I tell her make she delete her because we not even supposed to talk normally. We not even supposed to insult anybody. We not supposed to banter anything today. We not even get the.
Makes sense to me. Only a bit of a look at Anne-Marie's shook face there. You okay, Anne-Marie, love?
Yeah. You don't know.
They speak, them two there speak as much sense as you and Paddy.
Hey, Savage. I'm yourself.
DC, good evening, DC. Hope you well. Rico, what a player we have. Again, I I just feel he's really, really come. That tickled me. I just feel he's really, really come of age, and is you. And like you alluded to last week, Paddy, when she was in Turkey, he seems to be getting stronger and stronger, doesn't he, Rico?
He's been doing a lot of kickbox training, hasn't he?
Yeah, special mention for Gundo as well. I thought when Gundo come on, he just was like a Rolls Royce. Some of the passing, what he was doing, and I just thought it was a statement yesterday that to go away to West Ham. Yeah, normally we do have a good result against West Ham, but the manner we went about it, I just thought that will give us so much confidence. And no doubt after the internationals anyway, Pep's already said he will be rotating round a little bit, which I would expect. So I think the internationals could come probably at the right time for us, where some of these players will go away, like Rodri, he'll go and get minutes for Spain.
Rodri,
you know what I mean? Eh?
He's banned. He can't play for them.
Oh, yeah, isn't he?
And I don't think, after watching yesterday, I don't think Bernardo will be going anywhere on international duty.
Did he pull over an hamstring?
It looked like he did.
Yeah, it was right near the end, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I just feel that we've got this swagger and freshness, what I can't remember us having probably until Pep's second season, where we just went out and just was destroying teams. And again, the wingers will play a massive part, because we're going to get Oscar Bob back. Savinio's going to be coming back after his injury. I do honestly feel Jack was great yesterday. Doku, he just needs to start, when he beats a man, he needs to start passing and being more effective. And that lad can be anything he wants to be. I'm not having a go at him. I just feel he needs a bit more composure. Whereas people have a go at Jack for not taking people on. I'd rather have Jack keeping ball retention any day than somebody who looks good.
I think Doku's going that way a little bit, because while he might not play the final ball, he doesn't lose the ball as easily. He does try and tend to pass it on. So I think, he's learning our ways of playing.
Mm-hmm. He is. Good evening, Elliot. Hope you're well, mate. Evening, everyone. Great result. Great start. Just a special mention for Andy, the GOAT. We currently live in the best times ever. Fantastic performance from Nunes when he came on. Who's Rodri? Yeah, thanks for that compliment, mate. I'm the GOAT and stuff like that. Paddy? It's special mention. Seriously,
not a GOAT.
Don't milk.
I can think of other names from memory.
Well, so can I. I was being polite.
And something, I think we just set Pep for, and it's a great point by Elliot, to be fair. It's sort of like we mention all these great performances from the players and stuff like that. Pep doesn't really get a mention, does he? It's him who puts it all together on the training ground and stuff like that. And I think we sort of like take it for granted, his brilliance, don't we?
Absolutely, and a lot of people are going to get a lot of a shock when he goes.
Oh, hello, Mr. Happy. When he goes, got another 2 seasons.
Going anywhere this season, anyway.
No,
I fully expect to see an extension incoming this next couple of months.
Well, there isn't there in the North Stand.
I meant to Pep's contract.
I don't know what you're on about, love. Do I? Why do I keep calling you
love?
love?
Like fighting jobs.
Anyone think Kev looks fitter than he has done for a couple of years? Absolutely, mate. And he looks to have got that mojo, doesn't he, where he's taking more shots now, than... I think he had more... saying that, I had more shots than him last night. But mine was different. But he's taking more shots now, isn't he? Where, again, he hit the crossbar yesterday against Ipswich. We could have had a couple more goals. I know he scored, but he just seems to be. And again, he's another one who looks really, really refreshed. but he won't play every match. I can't see him playing every match because he's getting on a little bit, and I'd much rather in the so-called, not that I disrespect any Premier League teams and stuff, but I would much rather him play in the bigger matches, so he can conserve his energy a little bit and keep him fresh.
Yeah,
and that's why I think Gundo's going to come into his own in that regard, Andy, alongside Kovacic, because Rivalry then can rest where we couldn't have rested Rivalry last year. We had Kovacic, but we had nobody to complement him. Now we have Gundo, who will. And it's going back to what Amaris says at the start. It's absolutely frightening to think what's coming, because of all that squad was fit and match ready. That 11 that started against West Ham probably wouldn't have started. It's so exciting when you think about what's to come.
It really is, mate, and like there, Foden, suspected COVID, and that can absolutely drain you. I had COVID last week, by the way, but I'm not sort of like COVID can affect you in different ways. It can zap all your energy and stuff like that. So we don't know when has he been called up by England? Because I've not seen the call.
Yeah, he has.
See, well, he'll probably withdraw from that, anyway. Which, like I said earlier, players going away on internationals, it might be a blessing for us. On the flip side, somebody like Phil, if he has got COVID or had COVID, he'll just need to build himself up rather than, go travelling and playing international football.
Interestingly, Kyle Walker didn't get called up.
Has he not?
No. No, but Stones has been.
See, you say it's a blessing, Andy. I don't see it as that. I think that's an absolute hindrance. Like, if you take Walker, Stones, Grealish, Foden, if he's available, Walker, I know he didn't get called up, but they haven't played for us for the first 3 matches or such, and all of a sudden now they're playing international football again after the Euros. Yeah. I don't, like, Jesus. With Stones' injury record, like, he seems to get injured a lot with England.
I know, mate. It's like what Steve Black says. Paul come back from internationals. Okay, can't see the blooming point, and exactly, and that is.
We've got a friendly in your home country, Paddy.
Watch it was outside the door.
See, so you might actually get to see. You wish Jack Grealish playing it in your back garden, mate.
Jack Grealish did play until you stole him. Same me Rice.
It's all right. Just one, man. I've heard Foden has had serious tummy problems. Hey, shit happens, doesn't it? It does.
But you're going to get all the stupid rumor mills. Always this, he's that. Phil Foden the last couple of years has really settled down, and he seems to have lost that immature streak that he had. He's now he's a senior pro now.
And that's it, mate. I can get what you're saying, but sometimes, and I don't really like international football these days, mate. But if it's going to benefit us, where these players are going to get minutes, it's only going to benefit us when they come back in it, so they'll be more up to match speed than they would be.
Provided they don't get injured.
It's good. They're going to benefit us playing under Lee Carsley. Have you been drinking?
What did you think I said?
It's going to benefit us playing under Lee Carsley.
Who said that?
You.
I didn't mention Lee Carsley.
You said they'll get minutes under their belt playing international football, and it'll benefit us.
Are you smoking funny things? What are you on about?
How is our players playing for international teams going to benefit us playing under ridiculous managers who don't know how to use them properly?
By them getting minutes on the pitch, training. and playing match football is totally different. It benefit. You're not going to get match fit in training, are you? You'll get match fit by playing matches. So if the likes of, say, for instance, if Stones does play, for instance, players who are, even Nunes, for instance, he'll go away and he might get minutes for Portugal. That'll benefit because he'll come back stronger, won't he? He'll be more or less ready to go. Boom. If he gets called upon.
Yeah, but I would rather they were getting the minutes for us, not internationals.
Yeah, but unfortunately, Paddy, we haven't got a game for 2 weeks, so we have to let them get the minutes for the internationals.
Paddy, do you want to read what Adam says there, mate?
Fuck, man. I know I'm no oil painting, but Jesus Christ, don't compare me to Rat Boy. Fuck me. I'm really called glamorous and I could call Gary Neville. I'm fucking resigning. Fuck.
Oh, Paddy's not. You're going to do what? You're resigning? He's true to his word. Is Paddy. So you've got him on the alcohol now?
Fucking Gary Neville. Jesus Christ, I was happy to come on here. I had fucking nightmares tonight. Gary Neville.
Swearing. DC says pointless international breaks. Absolutely they are. Yeah. So let's talk a bit more about the match yesterday, because I just thought it was a brilliant result. Again, Ederson, got to give him a mention because it was very good. Rico, where does Rico play?
I don't
know. He plays in a position where he can't be picked up. Gvardiol's going under the radar, and he started the season off really well. Diaz has, forget the own goal. That could have happened to anyone.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got even players like Nathan Ake. If he goes away with Holland, that will benefit him by getting some minutes under his belt. Again, Kovacic, he's getting better and better. Bernardo's looking happy, which again, I thought last season he didn't look his happiest or have his best season, but he looks on point. De Bruyne, the list goes on. Jack, Doku, Savinho, but Erling Haaland, 2 hat-tricks in 2 games. He's already on 7 goals this season. And he was lucky not to have got a 4th yesterday as well, wasn't he, Anne-Marie?
Yeah, it certainly was right at the end before they had their last chance. He looks on fire. And there was one point yesterday, and they even highlighted it on Match of the Day, where I can't remember that it was Doku or who lost the ball, but the player chasing right back into our own half to get the ball back from Antonio was Haaland. And that's good to see because it's not just about him. He's thinking of the whole team. He's playing for the team, which is encouraging to see. Because while he could be out of sight with records, and to be fair, Sergio holds the records for the most hat-tricks in the Premier League. It won't be long before that's gone, and it's Haaland's because Sergio's got 12 and Haaland's got 8. 8 hat-tricks in 69 games. I mean, that's just crazy. It's crazy. So, I imagine that record will go this season. And it's just a joy to watch. It really is. I mean, we are totally spoiled in what we're watching. That is what I will say, because sometimes it's frustrating watching us keep the ball because I want us to do a bit more attacking. But the way we keep the ball and we don't panic under pressure, it's just an absolute joy to watch, and it's something that we could only ever have dreamed of in the past.
No, I totally agree. And let me ask you both a question. Was it that much of an issue us not bringing anyone in to replace Alvarez, or are you happy with the window we've had, by bringing Gundo back in I just think Gundo can do that role what Alvarez can, because we know Gundo can score goals. He's a much more intelligent footballer than Alvarez, obviously, because Alvarez is still only a puppy in football terms. You know, I'm not having a pop at Alvarez, by the way, but we've brought experience in, whereas when Gundo went, we brought experience in with Kovacic and Nunes, but not as much Nunes. But it was a different experience, wasn't it? What we brought in.
Yeah, it was, and in some ways, Alvarez going, and I don't mean this in a bad way, is a blessing in disguise, because I think it makes it easier now for us to put Foden in that number 10 position, just behind Haaland, in the middle. And I think that's more suited to Foden, whereas it was more difficult to put him in that position when we were playing with Alvarez. But, that's obviously just my opinion. No,
and I absolutely agree with your opinion, Paddy. Was you disappointed we didn't bring anyone else in, or are you quite happy with?
I was until I heard Pep speak, and the way Pep explained it, then it just kind of made sense to me. And it's not a new thing that Pep has discovered. He likes to work with a small squad because he likes to give each player minutes, and he says it really annoys him when players don't get minutes. So it makes sense to have that. He says the spirit of the squad depends on the size in terms of people getting minutes and feeling wanted and feeling needed. So it makes sense. And we're so blessed that we have players that are not one-dimensional. They can, like Rico Lewis, pick a position on the pitch, he'll fill it. Foden's the same. Gready's is the same. Druko's the same. We're so lucky to have players that can play in 2, 3, 4 different positions. And that's why we get the slagging and the feedback, oh, you have a massive squad. We actually don't. We have one of the smallest squads in the Premiership. And I'd say if you looked at the numbers now, we actually have the smallest squad. But bringing in Gundo, you're bringing in Mr. Intelligence. He's a world-class footballer. And Savinho, give him a season, and he'll be on fire.
Let's not put too much pressure on Savinho, mate, because we did it with Doku. We always seem to do it with talents what come through. We do it with Oscar Bob. AKA 249 on TikTok says we need a replacement for Kevin De Bruyne next season. I think that's when we've already got his replacement in Foden, but we will need to bring somebody in that position. I totally agree. We'll need to, because again, Kev's not, he's not getting any younger.
But he's the same age as Gundogan.
Yeah, but you're not going to see Gundo playing every game, are you? No,
this is true.
That's what I mean. And regarding, I'm happy that we didn't bring a replacement in for Alvarez, because what we've got, you're quite right, Paddy. We've got Pep likes working with a small squad, but what we've got multifunctional players what can play anywhere. So it's the equivalent of having a big squad in it. You can't pigeonhole De Bruyne as a central midfielder. You can't pigeonhole Foden or Jack or Bernardo as wide players, because we know they can play in the middle. So by him rotating and stuff, we've seen Gundo can drop back. We've seen him play. So, on the defensive side, we've seen Gundo, he can go forward, to play in them pockets where, he scores important goals. So we've seen even Stones who can play in midfield. So we don't, that's the thing what we've got. We don't necessarily have to pigeonhole players into them certain positions, do we, Anne-Marie?
No, we don't. And I think one of the key things is that we've got such, and it's been evident for the last 4 seasons, we've got the most amazing team spirit. We're all in it together. That's what is evident from watching all the different documentaries that have been done, is that we are all in this together and we will fight till the end. because we know what we're capable of. So for me, the transfer window was perfect because we made a shed load of money. We've shut everybody up because we're one of the lowest. I think we're the second from bottom of the lowest spends.
Yep.
In the transfer window. Yet again, we're seeing Chelsea and United spent over 200 odd million.
Okay, devil's advocate then, Anne-Marie, because I like to do devil's advocate sometimes. But people will just say about our low net spend. Yeah, but you've done all your spending between 2008 and 2000 and whatever, so you don't need to.
That's not true, though, is it? You know, because since then we've paid £100 million for Jack Grealish. We paid 50 million or 52 million for Erling Haaland. You know, we paid 14 million for Julian Alvarez, and look at what we got for him.
25 million for Kovacic, which was a steal. And then Akanji, was it about £12 million for Akanji? So not only that, what people really fail to recognise with Pep, in my opinion, again, Pep is so. I know he's a genius, but I still think he's so underrated because people just think Pep just goes to clubs and spends millions and millions. Hang on, look at the players what he's actually brought through at City who are top quality, like Rico. You've got the likes of Phil Foden coming through, Oscar Bobb's coming through. Is
James McAtee.
Yeah, so I think people don't recognise that sometimes, Paddy, that, Pep does bring, and he does give the kids. Listen, but what he's very good at as well, he's not going to get everything right. Nobody will ever get everything right. But what Pep's really, really good at as well, he'll get rid of players what are either not quite City's level, because you've got to be a certain level, or if players are sort of like past the sell-by date, like we've seen with Sané, Sterling, players of that ilk, so he recognises with Alvarez, what's the point in keeping Alvarez? When we can make a huge profit on it, and we can get by it. It's not a case of we'll struggle, we'll need to go and spend that £81 million to replace him. That's where he's very, very astute, and that's where the club's very, very well run. Because, again, some of the players, what we're bringing through, you've got to be a certain level, and that's only going to benefit us, isn't it?
Of course it is.
But it's a cheap shot, isn't it? This level that against Pep, like as them players you just listed out there, Andy, and we didn't even mention Cole Palmer in that. But look at the people who have worked under Pep, Arteta, the guy at Chelsea, the Vincent Kompany, like what Pep has a philosophy, and people buy into it. Even Gundel says that he played football for 7 or 8 years. He thought he knew football, and then he realised after meeting Pep he didn't know anything about football. So it's a cheap dig, like the EDS. The way it was explained to me, and it makes perfect sense, it was actually explained in Chelsea terms. If you sell, say, Alvarez, and you get that money doesn't go straight into the pot. Like if you sell, say, an EDS player, that's pure profit, and that goes into the pot. So we copied the Barcelona model from years and years ago in terms of a conveyor belt of talent. We mightn't necessarily make it at ours, but we'll make it a very, very good living out of the game. And that's what's funding that first team. And I think our net spend for this year was 100 plus 125 million.
I'll do a little shameless name drop here. And it's when Paul Lake was on our show. Do you remember when Lakey was on the show? I know Lakey. I absolutely love him a bit. And I asked him a question because me personally, I believe a good, successful academy is initially you want them to break through. Exactly what you were saying, Paddy. You want them to break through in our first team because, it's a proud thing, isn't it? Seeing a Mancunian come through. However, if they're not quite good enough and they can go on to have very, very good careers, you know, elsewhere. That's the whole point of an academy, where you bring in players through, very good players. Yeah, it might benefit other teams, you know, like we've seen the likes of you can even put Sancho, because he had a great career for Dortmund.
Absolutely.
You know, and even what's the lad at Chelsea now? Who's at
Cole Palmer.
Yeah, Cole Palmer's another. No, he's at Chelsea now. He was at Southampton.
Oh, Latvia.
You know, these play, not Latvia. He's not a country, you know.
All right, my apologies.
But then you only need to look just this season. We've sold Harwood Bellis for 20 million. We've sold Micah Hamilton, haven't we, to Middlesbrough?
Yeah.
Rory Delap.
Yeah.
It's not Rory Delap because that's his dad. It's Liam Delap, isn't it?
Pep's not been with us that long, love.
No, I know. And there's just 3 off the top of my head that have made us money.
But like, if you go in, sorry, Emery, if you go in to say what Stan, our esteemed colleague, said, there's millions of people in the world and there's only so many thousand professional footballers.
Mm-hmm.
But then if you narrow that down again, you have the elite teams then, the Barcelonas, the Real Madrids, the Man United, City, Liverpool, Arsenal.
Hang on, did you just say Man United?
Well, they are, Emery. No, I mean, they are a big club, you know.
If they're not an elite team, though.
Well, not at the moment, but they were, you know. So not everybody's going to get into them teams, but it doesn't mean necessarily mean you're a bad player. Like, you can go to Everton or Ipswich or Brentford and become a star and be their star. Cole Palmer is a fine example of that. He's gone to Chelsea and he is the main man there. He wouldn't have been the main man at ours.
Mm-hmm.
No.
So,
And again, some of the players what Pep's got rid of, where he knows the sell-by date. You can even assign Gab Jesus, Zinchenko to that. You know, Pep's always said he's not afraid to sell a player to a rival in the Premier League, but Pep's not stupid. Pep knows. And by the way, Raheem's gone to Arsenal on loan.
Yeah.
I actually wish Raheem all the very best, you know, because, and I say this to everybody, under Pep Guardiola, up until Haaland signed for us, the 3 most prolific players Pep has had is Messi, Lewandowski, and Raheem Sterling. So, you know, and I say this, Raheem will be remembered at City for all the misses and stuff like that. Let's not forget as well, Haaland, you know, has a habit of missing a lot, but he'll be remembered of all the, you know, breaking all the records and stuff like that. I thought he had a bit of a rough trot, Raheem, you know, towards the end of his City career. However, I do wish him luck. So yeah, it's Pep knows when to get rid of a player, which that itself, even the likes of, we was like that when likes of Yaya going, you know, David Silva, and we're like, oh my God, how we're going to replace him? Company, you know, Fernandinho. It's like, how we're going to Sergio. It's no problem, is it, to Pep? Because they say don't reinvent the wheel. Pep does that sometimes, and he knows the moment. But yeah, with what Spencer Mark says there, Anne-Marie, Matheus Nunes deserves applauding. He's very underrated at Say. You know,
and I would agree with that, because I think he just needs a chance. He needs a little bit of a run of games, and he hasn't had that at all since he joined us. I think, you know, people will say, well, you can't say that about him and then look at Calvin Phillips. There's a difference for me. I think this fella's got more about him. I think he's got more skill. I think he's got more ability than Calvin Phillips has got. And that would be why you'd stick with him and give him a good chance.
You know,
I agree, Anne-Marie. I absolutely agree.
I do. I think you summed that up really well, Anne-Marie, and that's pretty much my thoughts as well. And, you know, he's not been with us 12 months. I think he's got a terrific turn of pace as well. You know, he's more or less box to box. And I thought the assist for Haaland yesterday was just a great assist.
Yeah, it was.
The intelligence of that.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And the thing is, it's gone by the wayside, because what the focus is on in there is Haaland's hat-trick.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, he made it easy for him to score that third goal. Absolutely. With the weight of the ball and everything. So I think, you've got to give him a chance, because he was definitely one of Wolves' best players. And we've got him, and we have to make use of him. And I think he's just been, whether it's injury or what, I don't know, but he's just been a little bit unlucky so far. But if he's given a bit of a run, I think he could make a big difference for us.
I absolutely agree.
You go back to what Andy says. Like, a lot of City fans expect 11 superstars. And yes, we have them. But you have to have a squad behind that. Them 11 superstars can't play every match, because I think, was it Diaz says that there's 70 games to play, or was it Haaland, his post-match presser says there's 70 games to play. So, yeah, you can get caught up and say, oh, we want 11 superstars on the pitch. That's not physically possible. You need the Nunes, but Nunes will take his chance, given it, where Calvin Phillips was given his chance on numerous occasions and didn't, for whatever reason. It just didn't work out. Bravo didn't work out. You move on.
Yeah.
But I definitely think, as Andy says many, many times, you need the squad. Like, you need the people who are going to start the game, and you need the people who are going to finish the game.
And have you noticed that's the mentality of the squad as well? And it's picked up on by the players when they say, "Oh, you've been on the bench, you substitute." No, we have starters and we have finishers, and that just shows you the mentality, the mentality monsters. Now, what do you think? Right, listen, I can't get my head around this Champions League draw. Alex says, "What do you think of the champ? Are you happy?" Right, so. How professional is this that I've actually come prepared tonight? So on the left there, there are September fixtures. The next home game's on the 14th against Brentford. Squashed in between the Arsenal, Watford and Newcastle games. We've got Inter Milan. On the right, the fixtures for the Champions League. It's like, what are your thoughts on the format? Have they tried to fix something what's not broken?
I think it's a money-making scam. Bottom line of it. More games, more money for UEFA. And actually, what it's doing is it's killing the players.
Yep.
It's as simple as that. I think there was nothing wrong with how it was before. I think we've got more clubs in there now that aren't champions of anything. The fact that pot one was down to coefficients and everything, and Liverpool were in it, was an absolute joke. So I just don't understand how they work it out at all. And the whole point of the group stages was to keep all the big teams apart, wasn't it? And now they've gone and blown that right out of the water with this draw.
They've done that as well, Paddy, haven't they, with the League Cup, where the so-called bigger teams don't meet each other in the round what we all get put in.
Yeah, look, I'm not being smart, and I'm going to sound really rude now. I don't understand it, and I don't want to understand it. Like, that's gobbledygook to me. Like, Jesus Christ, to be a football fan now, you need to want to be an accountant, a statistician, everything. Like, there was a time where everybody knew the offside rule. They changed that. Interfering with play, they changed that, and now that spaghetti junction of fixtures. That I have no interest.
I think that's what Alex saying there, Paddy. Do you want to read his comment? No, but it's serious. I don't think that's being rude from you, mate. That's what I'm like with it. It's like I'm losing interest. As you know, I'm not a huge Champions League fan anyway. Because of UEFA. But now that's made me more inclined to just be. Meh, really. It's like, what's it all about, Anne-Marie?
It is. It's just money making, and it infuriates me because, again, no consideration for the actual players. because our season's going to go right through to July this year because of this World Club Cup thing, and the fans, because it's all extra expense for the fans that want to go to these games, and it's money in UEFA's pocket, and I don't think they need any more money in their pocket. Not for the way they.
No, because they fine us enough, so you'd think that'd keep them ticking along. But you see, even little things like, and it will happen where you will be seeing Premier League games in America and stuff like that. Listen, I've got nothing against our overseas fans or anything like that, but it's the Premier League. It's again, and I'll reiterate, I've not got anything against our overseas fans, but it's getting to the point now where football in general is becoming an absolute farce. It really is. And so it's almost like they need to go back to basics, because I think it was you or Paddy said earlier, the format, whereas you've got teams what are not even champions of their own country and stuff like that. It's like, how can they be in the Champions League when they're not even near being champions of their own country? It just makes a mockery of it. Jack Lee says, great game. Rico is going to go all the way to the top. Absolutely agree, mate.
Just before we move on, Andy, can I ask the price for a Champions League match compared to a Premiership match?
Don't know, mate.
It depends on who we're playing, Paddy. Because if we were playing, I would imagine we've got PSG there, so I would imagine a PSG ticket would be £50 plus. Whereas we've got Feyenoord as well. That won't be anywhere. That won't be as much. But that's the way it is, and it's a complete and utter con. It's daylight robbery what we're paying for these tickets.
I don't know, financially, how I say somebody who lives in Manchester now, right? How they can afford to travel home and away with Man City, the amount of games and the ticket prices and the coach travel and stuff like that. So it can't make financial sense to be an out and out true supporter now. Like back in, I'm sounding like a dinosaur now, but back in the old days, we used to jump on the coach. It was a £5 a man.
Yeah, those days are long gone, Paddy. Long gone. I think I'd seen somewhere, whether it was on YouTube or TikTok, that somebody had actually worked out what it had cost them over the course of a season, and it was in the region of £31,000.
That's a mortgage, Nick.
Exactly, but between travel, accommodation, tickets for the game, and that's what it worked out as.
You could buy Old Trafford for that.
Yeah, but it's falling down, isn't it?
Exactly like Jack said before. See, Big Morg, we was talking about this, mate, weren't we, before we even put the comment up? Just shows you we're on your wavelength, mate. I personally wish him all the best.
The only thing I'd say to that in response to Big Morg there, when Sterling started burying them chances and playing a better player, he was being coached by Arteta.
Listen, I'm glad for him, but it's just a shame he's gone to Arsenal. I'd have preferred him to go somewhere like West Ham or even.
Yeah, but you wouldn't have wanted him to go, because obviously Sancho's gone to Chelsea. You wouldn't have wanted him to go the other way, would you?
To be honest, I think I could be talking bubbles here, but I think Raheem Sterling on his day, in his prime, is levels above Sancho.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but there was a point that it could have been like for like swap.
Yeah, 2 City rejects.
Would you have wanted to see him play for United?
What?
2 City rejects.
Yeah.
Andy, it's not nice.
Nick says Rico was great, but needs to learn to finish if he's getting these chances higher up. Yeah, I agree with that, because it could be a tight game where, them chances, do matter. But what I will say is getting himself into the positions, so we know he can finish. We've seen some great goals. It was his first goal for us in the Champions League against somebody where, it was a great finish. So, yeah, I agree. He's going places.
Can I just stop you there? And this is just about how football has changed. We're now talking about a right back finishing. I remember when a right back's role was put the ball in the player and he rose head. Now he better take his chances. That's how much the game has changed.
No, so that's a fair point, to be honest, Paddy. But it also shows you that we're spoiled because you've got a young lad who's learning his trade, and we're saying he's got to take his chances. He's a right back. It's crazy, but when you're in that position, you'd expect somebody to score from 5-6 yards. Even you, mate, because I know Anne-Marie would.
I wouldn't put any money on me scoring from 5 or 6 yards.
Well, didn't like to really say, but yeah, you are right in a way there, Paddy. It's you have to stop yourself sometimes and think. We're talking about a young right back making his way, and that just shows you how brilliant we are. To be fair, Alex says Gundogan's been very good. He has, and again, I think we said it last week on the show when Mrs. there was in Turkey, mate. About we've got a player in who already knows the system. He's not got to start learning Pep's way of.
If we hadn't have brought Gundogan in, thankfully on a free, would we have brought somebody else in?
I believe so.
Think so. Yeah,
I believe so. Because it's even little things like he kept his apartment in the city centre next door to Pep and stuff like that. So, and again, I said it last week on the show. I can see. Maybe not this season, but most certainly next season in his
on the coaching staff.
Yeah, I can see that because you can tell the way he's keeping you awake there. You just can tell he's got it. He's very, very calm, isn't he? Unlike Mr. Company, what we've seen recently.
Yeah,
that doesn't put Company in a good light.
Does not.
And that's what I was saying to you last week. I think it was last week or week before, Paddy. Before you actually seen what I was on about. That's not losing your temper in training over something like that. That is when you've lost control.
I to be honest, I was taken back, seeing several clips of Company in action. It was
for anybody who is interested. The documentary that Sky have done, they did it for the first season when he got promoted, and now they've did it for last season with Company. It's the Mission to Burnley or something. It's on Sky. It started on Sky today, I think. So if anybody wants to watch it and wants to watch Company at his worst, I would say you can watch it on Sky.
Yeah, Nick says we should have bought an attacker who can play across the front line just for resting Ireland. Again, we've got Foden who scored 20 odd goals last season. With Gundo can chip in there, De Bruyne can play there, and I think at the moment in certain games as well, you could have Kovacic sitting back and put Rodri further forward as a more of a number 8 than a number 6, because Kovacic is proving, touch wood, what not only a great player he is, but he understands the system now and he understands where he needs to be.
And we don't know what Pep's got lined up. He could have an amazing talent from the EDS to bring in. We don't know that. And I think it's a case of waiting to see. But we know what the team are capable of. For me, there is no fear in that. Previously, if Sergio had been out long term, you'd be worried about who would come in and score the goals, because what we had as a backup was like Iheanacho and people like that that were never really at that level. And as we've seen, he never reached the levels he could have done because Leicester have got rid of him. So I think we're in a position where we don't need to fear it as much now as we would have done in the past. I think we're more than capable of managing a game without Haaland or without Rodri.
Here's an interesting one. AKA on TikTok, he'd like to see Jamal Musiala next season at City. It's been rumoured that City have been sniffing round him, and do you know what could actually work in maybe our favour? A, we've got Company as the Bayern Munich manager, and B, the Company seems to be pissing a lot of people off, and there might be people who actually want to leave Bayern Munich now, because of the way Vinny is.
Possibly. But in terms of Haaland resting, Silva, nobody mentioned Silva. Like he'd score a lot of goals if he was up there. And like you've seen I put up in the group today, Diaz and Silva getting interviewed, and Diaz was giving a speech about being tired and all this crack, and Silva says, "Oh, I don't do gym. I don't go to the gym." And your man says, "Why do you not go to the gym?" And he says, "The people that go to the gym can't play football with their feet."
He was having a dig at Diaz, though, wasn't he?
And then what does Diaz do after that? Score an own goal.
Yeah.
Steve Black says Pep saying, "Who said we wanted Paqueta?" Yeah, Pep was obviously keen on Paqueta and stuff like that, but I think there's still something brewing, isn't there, with Paqueta?
The risk is they've not actually officially charged him or anything yet.
No, so I think that's why we've distanced ourselves, because it seems we didn't want to put ourselves in a position what Newcastle did with Tonali, where because
we pulled out of that way before they announced there was any issue.
Yeah.
So we knew what was coming.
And that could have even come from Paqueta's team, by saying, listen, just hang fire, because, something could potentially be happening, and you'll suffer. But yeah.
If he was Randy and he was available to us, would you sign him?
I thought Paqueta played really well for us yesterday. Did you not?
Oh, he did.
He did that first goal, yeah.
I thought he played brilliant. To set up Haaland for that goal, mate, I just thought that was probably one of the assists of the season.
just like Casemiro today for United. He was Liverpool's best player.
He was, mate. He was. And, it's just, again, we're so blessed. Right, so going back to yesterday, I just want to see some stats. Look at me with being so organised. Bernardo Silva, most assists by a Portuguese player in the Premier League. Behind that, it was the babysitter. Nanny, rat face boy, and a crybaby. So, and again, things like that go under the radar as well, don't they?
Yeah.
And yet, yesterday's stats of the game, considering was away from, I think it was somebody said earlier, West Ham fans saying that's the best they've played for a long time. So that's even more kudos to City, to be a team of that ilk. If it was sort of like the best they've played for a while, but 68% possession, away from home. Expected goals 3.16. Shots 23, on target 8, corners 11, yellow. They beat us on yellow cards. I'll give them that. But the stats on that itself, it just bodes
Just
well.
go back to the stats on Silva, Andy. What you were saying last year, he wasn't up to his standards. He played a little bit below his standards. That might be because he had a newborn baby in the house. That baby's a year old now.
I bet that baby's bigger than him now.
It wouldn't be hard. But that would be a disruption to your environment, having a newborn baby.
Yeah. It must be, especially when you're there to, just play 90 minutes a week. It must be really draining having a baby in the house.
Are you disintolerant just because you were a hands-off dad?
I've always been hands-on, me, Paddy. Not hands-on, Paddy.
Yeah,
I mean...
What were your hands-on?
United got fined 10 million, but media swept it under the carpet.
They got fined 10 million for what?
Don't know. But then, on the flip side of that, Alec, these COVID payments, every club got £1 million. United got 40 million and an extra 35 million, which kept them in PSR.
So you have little Jimmy with a bacon bowl. Build me a stadium. It'll be the Wembley of the North. Oh, I bet you pay a bit of tax in the country there and contribute to it.
Mm-hmm.
They mock our owners, and they've done nothing but invest in Manchester. Nothing but invest in it.
Mm. No,
absolutely.
Sheikh Mansour, he was giving back, whereas Sir Jim Radcliffe, he's a bit different. Anne-Marie, go on, read just one Manx comment out.
If Pep wanted another striker, he would have got one. He obviously didn't identify one he rates or decided one wasn't required, and that's spot on. Mm-hmm. And I would agree with that. I don't personally think we needed one. Certainly not for this season. I'm not saying we won't need one in the future, but he's Pep knows what he's doing. So I agree with that.
If we won the league this year, is that 7 out of 8?
What do you mean if? You mean when?
We're when. That's 7 out of 8. I think he might have an idea what he's doing.
I'd say he knows what he's doing. Would you, Anne-Marie?
Oh, I think so.
Simon says Sterling is in my top 10 since 1967. Again, mate, I'll never disrespect Raheem, never, because I just thought it was brilliant for us, and I also know who, if the Raheem Sterling Foundation, what he found. I know who founded that with him as well, and I know a lot of the good work he still does. Not just in London, but round in the Manchester area as well. And you don't hear that. You just see guns on his legs, what the media report and stuff like that, and turn it round. You don't see much anti-Raheem anymore.
Because he's not playing for England.
And City. But yeah. Yeah. Pardo says, watch Calvin on Saturday versus Fulham. He is still struggling. I was hoping that once he'd left City, for a full season, I do hope Calvin, builds his confidence up and stuff like that, and starts getting back to being a footballer. But I can still see him struggling, Anne-Marie.
Yeah. He made his first start for Ipswich yesterday in the Premier League. He played midweek in the Carabao Cup for them. I think it's going to take that lad a while to get his confidence back, if I'm honest. And people will blame us for it, and I don't think it's our fault. I think we're partly to blame, obviously, because we bought him, but I don't think he was ever really our standard anyway. That's
not necessarily, Emery, because you can buy a player, you can see all his history, what he's done, blah blah blah, talk ex-teammates or current teammates, and get a picture of him, but you don't actually know what you're getting until they walk in that door. Some of them can cope with the pressure, and some can't. Every club has the best of psychologists and psychological support for player welfare now. So there was no feelings in our behalf. His move to us, yes, I would agree with you in that regard. I do think it was temperamental, these mental health. He's not the same person. It might take him 12 months to get that back. It might take him 2 years, but he will get it back. But that move didn't suit him. It's a big step.
I agree, and we saw sort of like shades of that a little bit last season, didn't we, with Jack? Where he was suffering, with his mental health, where Pep pretty much put his arm around him and guided him and stuff like that. I do think it's slightly different with Calvin. Again, I just wish, for as a human being, he just gets himself sorted out and, when he starts to enjoy his football again and get himself back on track. Damien says, West Ham fan here. You've obviously stumbled into my algorithm. I can only admire your team, your players, your coach, the project, the football you play. Hopefully we take notes, enjoying the show. Cheers, mate. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Damien.
And I'm not just saying, Damien, West Ham is my favourite London. I consider West Ham a proper
Absolutely.
Club. And we've got so much good history between our clubs, from down the years. I think that's why, I've always liked West Ham. I've got quite a few West Ham fan mates as well, who are top football people, very, very knowledge, unlike the Arsenal lot. So thank you anyway for that, mate.
And we joined in their protest yesterday about the prices.
Not sure, mate.
We did.
Don't know. I was drunk yesterday.
Shocker.
That's how news.
DC says, American here. I travelled to Manchester to watch City Premier League games belong in England. And I'm glad you've took it that way, DC, because that's exactly what I was trying to get across, and it wasn't a dig at overseas fans or anything like that. So I'm so glad that you took it that way. Thank you very much. And you support.
For me, it's a dig at the club, because we watch the team, no more than the women's team who are out in, I'm not sure whether they're in Australia or where they are at the minute, but they go out on tour pre-season, and those fans in those countries get better access to the players than we do, and that really, really winds me up.
Mm-hmm. Alex says, let's all laugh at the rags.
Manchester United.
It's in demand, so we have to, don't we?
It makes going into work on a Monday that much sweeter.
Yeah. Spencer says, Wembley is archaic, it needs pulling down.
Spencer, that's a bit harsh. It's not that long been built and we're still paying for it.
And to be fair, Spencer, if they pull it down, where we're going to play our games every season?
So give little Jimmy there a new stadium in Salford.
So where would we play our games? Alex says Sterling upset City fans when he refused a selfie with a City fan when going to Chelsea. I don't believe that was just the case, in all honesty. And you've got to considering is the media was all around him. He was at a Chelsea training camp. How different players would react differently. Was it on the flip side then? With this on social media at the moment, there's United fans asking Ruben Diaz, if he could have the picture taken with him, and Ruben Diaz refused. So we'll applaud that one because he's done it against that, but because something happened against City, a City fan, we have a dig at somebody. So we need to have a bit more. I know
if I remember correctly, it wasn't a selfie. It's that he wouldn't sign the City shirt. That was my recollection of it.
Yeah, so it was something like that. And that's what I mean. And I know you wasn't having a go at Raheem or anything, then Alec. I'm just saying that's the difference in sort of like fans' mentality. You know, we go, hey, Ruben Diaz refused to have a selfie with a United fan, brilliant, legend. But then because something happened against a City fan, it's like, oh no, he's a slapped ass, this, that, and the other. So we just have to appreciate Raheem for what he did. He's got a lot
Exactly.
of
You can't have your cake and eat it. Raheem Sterling, when that happened, was a Chelsea player. So tough, suck it up, and stop being such a snowflake.
Look at you. So
you can't do like some Raheem Sterling for our fan base can't do right for doing wrong, and he's never done anything against that club.
Yeah. Alec again. Oh, Alec. Facts. Gundog fell out with Barca around October. Their fans are very angry with their board. Do you know something? Gundog was actually their best player last season because Gundog called them out after El Clasico because when Barcelona got beat, how unprofessional the Barca players were by, it was like meant nothing, and they was laughing after the game and stuff like that. And that just shows Gundogan is levels above, and it just shows you the standards what little City have got over these world massive clubs like Barcelona. It just shows you how times change and the perception of things.
Yeah, and he really rubbed that. Like he came out after that match and said in his press conference, but he really rubbed it in when he rejoined us. He says, "You don't know what you have until you lose it." He says, "Levels at City are the best in the world." Yeah.
Anne-Marie, read Steve's out.
Santa Cruz still playing. Good backup.
I'd rather have Santa Claus up front.
Santa Cruz was a
Jesus,
donkey.
what age is he now?
Mark Hughes moved heaven and earth, didn't he, to bring
him in? I know, what a mistake.
Yeah. Ben says, evening, Blues win. The Blues win and United at home. Lovely weekend. It really is, mate. It really is. It's like I said earlier. We are blessed with what we've got, and what we're seeing with City. It's not normal, is it?
No, it isn't.
No.
Mm-hmm. Just fly through some of the comments because I've kept you lovely people too long, haven't I, tonight? Hey. BB, good evening, BB. Sterling's saying the best is yet to come. The lad needs to shut up and show it. I agree with that. Put your money where your mouth is, kind of thing. But I'm only speaking about the respect I had for Raheem, and still
have to say that.
Yeah,
you have to say that. He's not an over the hill player, and he stretches the imagination, age wise or ability wise.
Yeah, BB also says 20 years ago it was 35 quid to watch Oasis at the Etihad. How is it 450% increase justifiable? No, thanks, lads. I agree with you, but I was still trying to get my tickets yesterday, mate.
Did you get any?
How much?
No, didn't get
I
any.
didn't get any either.
Didn't get any. However, I've offered people, if they can get me 2 tickets, I will swap them for 4 Freddos. So I think that's a good deal, to be fair to you.
I'd be amazed if they carry out all those concerts.
There's more to come, by the way. I've heard from a very, very good source, and I'm not in the know, that they're trying to get 14 nights at the Co-op Live Stadium.
Noel's not taking his divorce very well, so. Noel's not taking his divorce very well.
No, and I've also believed, I don't know if it's on social media, but I was also told by someone last night as well they're not going to be singing Wonderwall.
Why not?
Why?
They're not going to be singing Wonderwall. I think Noel's first wife, Meg Matthews, he actually sort of like wrote that song for her. Could be wrong, could be totally wrong, but yeah, apparently they're not going to be singing Wonderwall. Not even maybe.
And Noel's going to tell Liam what to do. That's going to end in tears.
Go on, Paddy, there's one for you.
Geez, a compliment at last after Gary Neville twice. Love your snowflake, Paddy. Spot on.
Oh, man. Alex says, sad about Sven. Absolutely, mate. I don't know if he's there start the show, Alec, but we did a little bit of a tribute to Sven. I just thought, what a humble man he was, and pretty much his dying words was heartbreaking. How can you put yourself in that position when you've not gone long left, but you find the strength and being dignified and stuff, on your hour of need, if you like. Yeah. Top of the league. Evening, guys. I'm a bit late to the party. Don't worry, mate. You can watch the rerun on it. We're on YouTube +1.
And if you'd won that YouTube +1, United only 1-0
down. Please turn off now if you don't want to know the final results. Spencer, City's new hotel is going to be called 115 Way. I like 115.
That's starting though, isn't it? That case is starting in the next few weeks.
Yeah, and you know something? I want it to start. We all think we're innocent. I do. I'm 100% sure. But you know something? It's not down to us. It's it's down to the people what matter. I'm more than confident because I trust Khaldoon. I trust Pep. They must know that we're innocent. For it to be, because I've heard rivals say, "Oh yeah, but you're selling all your players and stuff like that, and this and that." Something. It's not selling players. It's because the players are probably not good enough to get into our team, and on top of that, our squad is unbelievable as it is anyway. So it's none of that. But yeah, we need to start it and get it done. Should we do a show one night in layman's terms? Because I don't know the ins and outs of it.
Me either.
So we'll do a show in layman's terms where what is going on.
Boring bee that I am. I've done quite a bit of reading up on it, and
yeah, but you're a geek.
I know, yeah, but I don't know what I'm being accused of. So I'd like to have an answer, but there's no new evidence. So you have a whole team of UEFA who charged Man City, and we won that case. And now the Premiership have offered one senior King's Counsel against an organisation, and he's going to now take on that organisation with the best of luck to him. Because you're talking governments, multinational companies. He'll be there until he retires.
So we'll leave it on that note, Steve. Thanks to everybody who's joined us. We've gone on more than we normally talk, haven't we?
Jesus, put them away, Anne-Marie.
Hang on a minute. I'll just remove myself to give Anne-Marie a bit more.
You can remove me, try.
No, come on now, lads.
If you seen that comment last week, you wouldn't have done that.
I think we're going to be taken off air.
I didn't do anything X-rated.
No.
Oh, Jesus.
Not like I lifted my top, is it?
No. You see, that's for the party.
Go on, just carry on.
1894 is some bra size.
What was that?
Wow.
You just keep there on the
Funny, Andy.
Oh, God.
You've actually got me lost for words. That don't
There's
mean
no
say,
coming back from that.
that don't mean to say you can do it every week. But
No.
Thank you to everybody. What was I saying? Thanks to everybody who. What was I saying then? Who did anyone join us tonight? Anne-Marie, over to you for the last words.
Go on, Jackie.
No, I'm not.
Go on, Jackie.
If you've got them, flaunt them, Steve. That's what I say. And they're there, and I can't get rid
I
of them.
said, was he take that t-shirt?
Anne-Marie actually said she's got two of them. She's got a fine pair of t-shirts. On that note, thank you everybody for joining us. Paddy, always a pleasure, never a chore, my friend.
Likewise.
Yeah, we will do it all again. Not all again. We will do it again next week.
Yeah, no game next week though.
We'll talk about 1-5 next week.
Yeah, we can do 1-1-5 next week.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
The last time I was on, I got slated for being very harsh on Birmingham and then Plymouth. So this week, I've given you all something to laugh at.
Not laugh. They're not laughing.
No, they're in shock.
This is going to get the most views we've ever had.
I doubt that.
And they'll even be watching it on YouTube +1 afterwards. Yeah, so Anne-Marie, so everybody actually knows now why Anne-Marie went to Turkey last week.
Well, they're 100% natural. They're all my own.
Yeah, and somebody said, Wembley wants knocking down. Well, we know what happened to the Twin Towers, don't we? On that note, have a great week, everybody, and we'll do it again next week. Thank you for joining us. Bye-bye now.